It almost looks to me like something's missing. Well, she's brass monkeys down here today. I've got the beanie on, I've got the Makita heated vest on. Let's crack into this. Who remembers the review I did on this? I did a review a few weeks back on this impact wrench. So someone at Banggood saw that review and they sent me another couple of tools in the same vein. They look familiar but seem to be missing something that usually defines them. We'll have a look at this impact driver soon, but today we are looking at the 125mm angle grinder here on this adapted to Makita 18V battery tool. If you're new to angle grinders and you're wanting a cheap angle grinder and that's why you're watching this video, let me give you a quick rundown of what you get. You get the 125mm angle grinder, you get a guard for the cutting discs, you get two of these flange things for holding your disc on, a tool for tightening those up on your disc, and a handle. You can use angle grinders for so many things. You can put these attachments on for grinding rust off steel. There's multiple different sorts of grinding wheels. There's lots of different ways to sand with them. That's called a flat disc. You can cut wood with them. You can grind wood with them. You can cut concrete with them. You can grind concrete with them. So they have a ton of uses. Let's have a closer look now at this particular tool and see if it cuts the mustard, so to speak. Not that I would cut mustard with an angle grinder. If you're wondering where you can get one of these, there's a link down in the description. Once you've finally got your guard on, you can put on a disc. These are fairly good quality. Certainly, you know, it'll do the job. Locks on alright. This one is okay, but it does look like whoever drilled the holes had had a few to drink that day. A little bit hard to see maybe on the video. Not a big deal, I suppose, but it's very crooked. Now the handle is very flimsy and it is very close. Put your hand very close to the action. If you had a grinding disc on there and you didn't have the guard on, your knuckle would just about be rubbing on the wheel. If you had a bigger hand than mine, which many people do, you would be rubbing on it. So that's a bit of a fail. Also be aware if you're buying one of these, you may not be able to use this on job sites where you work due to the fact that it's this slide switch style rather than the paddle switch under here. I prefer these slide switch ones myself because then you can hold the tool in all sorts of different places and angles rather than having to have your hand clamped in that one place. Now this grinder runs on this style of battery, believe it or not. So let's chuck one on. Down here we have a battery indicator on the left and a speed guide on the right. So this is a 3-speed tool. So I haven't got anything to test the speed of those, but I have it on good authority from someone else who tested it for me that the lower speed is just under 4,000 RPM, the middle speed is 6 and the top speed is 8. It only works when you've got the tool switched on, so you can't flick through it and set the speed first or check the battery. I'm going to open this up and have a look inside it, but first let's give it a test and we'll compare it to this other model here, which, hey, wait a minute, they look awfully similar. I sent the wife down the road to grab some more discs and I have a fully charged 5 amp hour battery on each one of these tools. We're just going to run them through a few different tests and we'll see if there's any difference in the battery life. I'm going to run this on full speed because this cheap Makita model here only has the one speed. It's all or nothing. So we'll put this one on full bore. We'll start off with these 0.8mm cutting discs. We'll cut some, what do we cut? We'll cut some threaded rod, some 1/2 inch threaded rod. Do a few cuts with that. Then maybe we'll chuck a grinding disc on. We'll do a little bit of grinding. and maybe we'll do something with concrete as well, and we'll just see how she goes, and then we'll pull it apart, see how much crap's got inside it, and see what the difference is between this and this really similar looking one. Be aware that if you are going to buy one of these from Banggood, most of them are only 100mm discs, so they have a smaller spindle here. This is an M14, you'll only get an M10 on the 100s. Try and look for the 125s because you get a lot more options with other discs and that sort of thing, and you can cut deeper and all that sort of stuff. So I think there's only two that they have on the website that are 125. One is this one that looks a lot like this one, and the other one's a black one. All the rest that I've seen only do 100mm discs. Just something to take note of. But I'll put the link to this particular one down in the description. Hopefully you could see from that grinding test that the adapted Makita didn't do as well as the genuine Makita in the stall test. Apart from that, it felt pretty good, but the Makita was definitely a lot harder to stall and just felt like it had a bit more power. Quite a bit more power. There is quite a large difference between startup and stopping times on these. This is the adapted, this is the Makita. Adapted Makita, Makita. So the Banggood one has a slower start, a safer sort of start than the Makita. The Makita ramps up pretty damn quick. And this one also has a better brake than the Makita. Who would have thought? So I've put a brand new cutting disc on each one again, and each battery is showing 3 bars. I'm now going to run them both until they conk out, just to give a rough idea whether they both run at the same sort of power ratings and using up battery at the same speed. And just for fun, we'll time it, and you'll get a rough idea how long these things last as well on a 5 amp hour battery, even though they won't be under load. Okay, let's go. Right, well what I saw there was that didn't cut out anywhere near as early. It was just kept slowing down and slowing down, whereas the Makita cut out much earlier on. So even though it looked like this one lasted longer, I think they're probably pretty similar, because this one was slowing down, but I'm guessing because it hasn't got the same battery protection, hasn't got that extra temperature sensor and that in here. There's no extra tang here, like there will be on this one. This here. So because of that, maybe it drained this battery a bit more. I'll quickly just test them and we'll see what the voltage are. That's the Makita one. The Makita battery first. So just under 16.5 volts. So it's only 1.5 below 18. These batteries do sort of start at about 20.5. They're sort of 20 volt max. That's why they call batteries 20 volt max, because it's 18 nominal, 20 volt at the extreme when you first start off. Right, so the other one, the grinder adapted to take 18 volt Makita batteries, is reading 15.9. It's about 0.6 of a volt less. Not a huge amount, so nothing to be too concerned about. It's not going to kill your batteries. Here is a fully charged battery. Just by comparison, it should totally max out this meter. If we can get it to line up. Come on, you bugger. Yeah, there we go. It's going right off the chart. Yeah. Whee. So that's doing over 20 volts because I had it set at 20 volts. Neither the batteries for the Makita or this one were hot, so that's good. Now just remember that an impact driver is not going to run for 25 minutes like it did in that test. That wasn't under load. Under load you're looking more at 10 to 15 minutes, not 25. So let's have a quick comparison of these tools. They do look very similar, don't they? Right down to all the angles and everything. So one thing that's different, this one has these funny little filters on which get clogged up so damn fast that you kind of wish they weren't on there almost. This one doesn't have anything like that, so it should fill up with dust a lot more in theory. We'll use this other adapted to Makita battery tool to pull these apart. In all the following shots, the Makita is the one on the right of screen. So looking in here, we have very similar looking. This one looks pretty good, you know. It's a very good facsimile, shall we say. The grease in this one is sort of a fluorescent yellow. The Makita one stinks of petroleum, whereas this one does not. But they're all very similar, look just as meaty. The Makita one is maybe slightly heavier, but yeah, not looking too bad in that department. You can see the Makita one is hobbed all the way down to the base, whereas this one is not. It will be very interesting if I can pull out the Makita one and just shove this into the Makita. Or are they going to be different diameter? There we go, pretty similar sizing. The fans are, look at that there. The magnets are interfering with each other. So the fans look identical in shape, just a different colour. Oop, there may be a different material. They seem just as sturdy as each other. Now you can see some differences, particularly at this end. The balancing is very different. This is old school, someone's hacked away at it with a drill after the fact. The Makita one is much tidier in that regard. There's a piece taken out there and there. Makita slightly longer. Yeah, ever so slightly longer. Finishing on here is a little bit rough. There's a lot of thin wispy bits of aluminium kicking about the place. No, see there's something not quite lining up in there. These are very similar. Look at some of these marks are identical. Then you've got other bits that are a bit different. These holes are in a different place, holes there in a different place. But they're very, very similar. They're both very good molds actually. This one doesn't tell you what it's made out of. The Makita one is presumably, can't see it on there, but it'll be there somewhere. Yeah, PA6 glass fiber 30%. This one doesn't say what it is, but it actually does feel and look like it's got glass fiber in it. Yep. So That's interesting that they go to that much effort of putting glass fibre in. It's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. There's a lot more wiring going on in the Makita one. Not a huge amount, but there is different wiring and a completely different switch setup. Very basic switch here. It does have a bellows on it though, so that's good. The Makita switch is way stronger, much more pressure needed to push that down. And we've got more wiring going on in here. It is an Omron switch. Is it? It looked like one, but I can't see. I'm pretty sure I've looked at this before and it was an Omron or a Makita. Could be a Makita. Most interesting thing is the complete opposite orientations of these switches. The Makita does it from the top. When you push that forward, pulls this lever down and pushes the switch, whereas this one pulls up from underneath and pushes a switch from the complete opposite side. Right, so here's the battery indicator on the tool. You've got the 3 LEDs going up for the battery and the 3 going sideways for the speeds. You see something wrong here? It's only got 2 going up. 2 for the battery and 3 for the speed. Not quite the right button plate there. All surrounded in aluminium, heat sinked. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wires coming out of the top of it. 2 going to the battery terminal. The Makita one, of course, has 3 going to the battery terminal because it has that protection there you don't get with the other model. And coming out of the board, a lot more wires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And what was the other one? 7. So 5 more wires. They are going directly to the motor, all those thin ones. The board is covered in a lot of dust. Board is slightly nicer. The aluminium's got a fancy pattern on the bottom. So I'm guessing there's a bit more heat protection and things in this than there is in this. But all these connections are pretty good. The biggest thing with these tools is going to be longevity, and this switch is probably going to die before this switch if I had to put money on it. Tell you what, cheap tools are getting much better. You can see the wire gauge on the one on the left, the non-Makita, is a little bit bigger than the Makita. So like I say, longevity is a key to a good power tool. Time will tell if that one makes the grade or not. I'll use all these Makita 18 volt adapted tools for a while as my go-to tools, and we'll see how they do in a year's time or whenever they need to be reviewed again. First I better put them back together, see if it still works. Another good guide on whether a tool's any good or not, how well the clamshell goes back together. This one went back together nice and easy. This one, however, I don't know how long I pissed around trying to get the end in. Anywho, it's done now. Will it still work? I'm pretty confident this one will. Don't bother at all. Like the Makita, you can put the head on any angle. Well, not any angle. One of 4 angles. So if you're cutting all the time and you want the blade there and you want your wrist to stay like that, you can put it offset at 90 degrees as I have here. It would normally be down that way. You can have it that way so that you can just much more comfortable on the wrist than if you had it that way and you twist your wrist around like that. Right, moment of truth. Yeah. Is it going to work? Quite cute, that slow start up, isn't it? This is currently on special at the moment for around $50 US. Link below. So if you think that's a good deal and worth buying compared to whatever this costs where you live, this cost in US dollars when I got it around 220, I would say. So if this is 50, you can get over 4 of these for the price of one of those. Is this gonna last 4 times longer than that? Who knows, time will tell. Like I say, I will keep using this, and if anything happens I will let you know. But they're getting better. They are definitely getting better at this sort of thing. The cheap tools are catching up to the good tools very fast. But remember, This is the company that put all the research and development in. When you want to bitch down below saying that Makita's a rip-off and why would anyone buy Makita when you can buy these, if you buy these all the time, there won't be any of these, because these are only here because they've copied this. These guys have put all the work in, they've put all the money into it, they've done all the hard yards, made the tool. Someone else has just come along at the end and copied it. That's a lot easier than doing it all from scratch. If you buy these all the time, you'll run out of tools because this company won't make them anymore. And therefore, this company won't exist to make them anymore either. Think about that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Next up, we'll do that one. See if that's any chop. Thanks for watching. Heaps more Makita reviews and yeah, some other interesting reviews coming up. Links down in the description to this tool and this tool. And I'll see you on the next one. Yeah.